Now that you know what terminal emulators and shells are, it's time for you to start using them. In this lecture, you'll learn what a command prompt is, how commands are structured in general, and you'll even run your very first command called echo. So let's start by opening a new terminal window. The first thing you should see appearing is a bunch of random characters usually terminated by a percentage or a $sign. This character sequence is called the command prompt, and it is here to indicate you that the shell is ready to accept commands, as it literally prompts you to take action. Beside being a shell readiness indicator, the prompt can also be customized to include colors, special characters, and other elements to make it more informative or just visually pleasing. We can, for example, change the prompt to include our username or the current working directory. For this course, I will use the following prompt, which is a yellow dollar character, in order to avoid any confusion between the prompt itself and the command. In general, a command is composed of the three following elements, separated by one or more space characters: a name, a list of options, also called flags, and a list of arguments. The name, which always comes first, is indeed the name of the program we want to run. The options are parameters used to influence the program's behavior, and they're quite easy to recognize as they're always preceded by a dash or a double dash. Finally, the arguments are values the program will use as an input, like a number, a file name, or a text string, for example. Let's illustrate this by running a very basic command called echo, which takes a list of strings as arguments and prints them back into the terminal window. Running echo on its own, for example, will simply print an empty new line, as indeed we didn't specify any arguments to print. Running echo with a few arguments this time will result in displaying each argument separated by a space character followed by a new line. And finally, running echo with the N flag and the same arguments will also result in displaying each argument separated by a space character, but this time without being followed by a new line. As you can see, the prompt appears right after the output of the command. One thing I'd like you to keep in mind as of now, though, is to always place the options before the arguments, as most commands will not understand what you're trying to do if you were to switch them. For example, placing the N flag after the arguments list when using echo will result in the -n being treated as a string of characters and not an actual option. I suggest you now take a minute before moving on to the next lecture to run the 4 echo commands we've just seen together on your own. If you're on macOS, search for the iTerm app you installed in the previous lecture, and if you're on Linux, simply search for the pre-installed terminal app. Once you've got that terminal window, wait for the prompt to appear, type in any of the commands we've just seen, and press enter to run it. If you successfully managed to do that, well, congratulations, you're officially a shell user. Whenever you feel ready, move on to the next lecture where we'll learn how to run commands sequentially and conditionally.